Recently, blue cities across the country have been experiencing a wave of violent crime. They're now touting falling numbers, but is it really true? According to a study by the Council of Criminal Justice, murders in the first half of 2023 fell over 9% compared to the first half of last year. But it turns out they're still up 24% from the first half of 2019, and that's before the pandemic.
Yeah, and additionally, the council also found that motor vehicle theft is now up over 33% from 2019, which is extraordinary. So here to break down those numbers for us is retired lieutenant for the Nutley Police Department, Steve Rogers, and former NYPD intelligence officer, Christopher Strom. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. At this point, it is appropriate to still blame the pandemic for high crime rates, or does law enforcement really need to start taking control? Steve, yeah, I'll come to you on this one.
Well, let's put it this way. The only reason why crime is soaring has nothing to do with the pandemic, has everything to do with the Democrat policies. Bail reform, for example. The mayor of New York is touting the idea that crime is down. Well, it's up 47% since bail reform. And I've got statistics from the American First Policy Institute that clearly show that homicides, theft, larceny, muggings, etc., have increased across the country. And the one common thread is what? Well, the woke policies, bail reform policies, and let's help the criminal and not the cop policies in the blue cities and states.
Yeah, those are great points. The reality is nothing ever goes straight up. I don't care if it's investments, crime, anything. It's shot up, and of course it's going to come back a little. So to celebrate that it came back a little, I don't think is really a victory for anyone. But Chris, one city that's suffering right now from crime, Oakland. I mean, they're seeing 22% increases in robberies. So listen to this. I mean, I read this before and I had to scratch my head. In an attempt to prevent home invasions, Oakland Police Department released this advisory telling people, among other things, that they should consider reinforcing their doors with security bars, install motion detector, security systems, and listen, trim their hedges to eliminate potential hiding spots. So I'm just assuming this must be the reason for all the crime. The bushes are too big, right? The landscaper's not doing his job. Christopher, is this real?
Well, it's funny. Good morning, and thank you for having me on. It's funny because this is a crime strategy that goes back 20 and 30 years where people would basically call the police and they would come out and do a survey of your home, how to make your home safer. So this is an old, formula that the police use, and it's basically used for community engagement. So as far as any kind of real deterrence, I mean, it's laughable, really, at this point. And I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about with the crime stats. They said it's a 9% drop in homicides in 37 major cities. Well, I did a little research. I couldn't find the 37 major cities in the article that was sent to me. So I did a little survey, and I looked at Chicago. Well, their murder rate's up 30%. Their robberies are up 15%. DC is up, their murder rate's up 15%. Their robberies are up 60%. So I don't know what major cities or what qualifies as a major city, but I'd be interested to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. I think any cop that's ever worked in a major city, NYPD, California, doesn't matter, they will tell you, you can fudge these numbers any way you want. I mean, it's statistics, right? It's all in how you look at it and how you sell it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Steve, there is a recall campaign right now that's happening against the Oakland DA, Pamela Price. I want you to take a listen to what she thinks is the district attorney's impact on crime.
This is classic.
I was elected because the people in this community didn't feel safe, unfortunately. We know that crime under my predecessor was, pretty much exploding. The DA's role has really no impact on crime.
Okay, so she says that the DA has no impact on crime.
And she also said that her predecessor, it was exploding, but it's up since she took office. So what's beyond explosion?
Who knows? But since she became the DA, it's actually gone up 18%. That is a lot. Steve, what is your take on that?
Well, she apparently doesn't know her job then, and she should be removed from office. The fact of the matter is that the DA makes the decision after the perpetrator is arrested. And you know what that decision is? You either go out free or you get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So I would suggest that before she gets recalled, she resign, go back to school, learn about what her job is, and then maybe do something else for a living. But this is an outright lie, in my view, or she just simply is unqualified for that job.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe she should be a defense attorney. But the idea that, and Chris, I'll go to you on this, from a police mentality, if a DA isn't going to prosecute, why make the arrest? I mean, they're going to be in a revolving door and just processed and put right back out on the street. But anyway, I digress. I apologize. I can go on and on because I find it infuriating. But it turns out crime can pay. I wanted to get to this. New York City, if this doesn't anger you, I don't know what will. They just agreed to pay $13 million. That's right, $13 million to the rioters that were arrested during the 2020 BLM protests. So that's $10,000 to each of 1,380 people who were arrested or subjected to force by the NYPD officers. The settlement is one of the most expensive payouts ever for a mass arrest. So, Chris, I'll just ask you, doesn't this just embolden people to do more rioting and to attack our cops and to start fires and riot, loot, and so on?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And really, to be honest with you, this is like what I call the Bradams effect, meaning Mayor Adams and Alvin Bragg. I mean, they're perfect together, as they say. You know, they complement each other. You know, one's talking out of one side of his head, one's talking out of the other side of his head. And who's suffering? The people of New York City who are paying tax money and who are actually paying for this outrageous type of payout. And let's be clear about this, okay? People want to dance around this subject. Black Lives Matter, by the FBI's own definition, is a domestic terror group, period. Okay, so they were responsible for getting Mayor Adams elected because he capitulated to them, and they basically told him during his election, and then after he got elected, if you go back to policing the way it was prior to 2019, there will be, quote unquote, blood in the streets. So none of this should surprise anybody, but it is infuriating that the taxpayer's on the hook for such nonsense.
No question. And I think, again, it's going to encourage others to do the same. Well, Steve Rogers, Chris Strom, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And